not good, not good. And another one, jobs. And this is less social media, but a bigger a concern of mine is a lot of the teens and the young adults I see, it is so easy these days to apply for jobs. You just do it online, right? And then when you don't get a job a month later, well, I applied. You see, that's not how you get a job. And those, well, we have to apply online. I say no problem. What you do is let's say it's Home Depot. You apply online, and then you go in the next day, and you ask to talk to the hiring manager, and you introduce yourself face to face, and you sell yourself. Hi, my name is Chris Haley. I come into Home Depot all the time. I'm very familiar with paint, and I know a little bit about plumbing. I think I would be an asset. I'll show up to work every time. I put in an application yesterday. Would you please consider me? That's how you get a job these days. You have to go face to face and follow it up.
Except a lot of people don't even shake hands anymore.
Of course.
They just,
the lost art of social skills.
Just walk in and so many people can't even make a sentence. Everything is like, and I myself, I do it all the time. I get caught with, he was like 29. Well, no, he wasn't. He was either 29 or he wasn't. But it's so easy to get, so many people just can't make a sentence, and let alone use big words. And when you go back, I like the game Scrabble. The word game.
Oh, Scrabble, yeah.
So many children, I'm like, see, they're like, Alexa, how do we spell city? I don't know, sound it out, but they can't. Because everything's spell checks for them. And
my kids in elementary school, they don't get, you know, when you would hand in a paper in elementary school and the teacher would correct the spelling, they don't do that. I don't know why they don't do they not? For some reason they don't do that in their school. I don't know. They don't correct spelling.
Feel bad.
Yeah, oh God forbid you should make them feel bad. Because everybody's great. And
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. How do you learn? One of the greatest predictors of success in life, other than social skills, is the ability to tolerate things that you don't want to do. Because much of our lives as adults are doing things that we don't want to do. And if you can't do that, if your frustration tolerance is low, you are really going to struggle. Really going to struggle. So yeah, with everyone great. Yeah. Hey, when getting back to chess or Scrabble, when I play a kid, I'll let them win some of the time, but some of the time I'm going to beat them good. That's how you learn frustration tolerance. You can't let the kids win all the time.
And that's as it builds character.
What's that?
When you used to beat me as a little kid playing games, like I'd be playing Pretty Princess, where you would win a crown and all these jewelries and stuff like that. And my mom would come home and he'd be dressed up as a princess, and she's like, "Why don't you let her win?" She builds character. She's learning how to lose. Absolutely, they don't do that anymore these days.
Yeah, they don't. You need. There are certain parents that I see though that they like. I'm going to beat my kid until they're good enough to beat me, and that you don't want to do because that crushes your self-esteem. So there's got to be a happy medium there. But I agree with your dad. I agree with doing that part of the time. Definitely.
That's what I say about cheating. It builds character.
Absolutely.
That's why we huge problem with the school system now. So they don't even have Fs anymore. Like, I can't give anything lower than a D. Well, why not? Because they can't know that they're doing bad. I'm like, they need to know that they're doing bad.
You have to know that.
And there's not even, it's not even A through F anymore. It's 4 through 1.
Oh, yeah, 4 through 1. Yeah, 4 through 1.
My roommate's a teacher. And I'm like, they need to know they're not allowed to use colored ink. And I'm like, why? If they have a D or lower, give them a red ink. Like, they need to know to do that. Or that's how I grew up, and it made me want to do better. If I saw that you got an A minus and I got a C, I want to work harder so I can do better. But they can't do that anymore.
Well, it's when you grow up and you get out of high school, you go to college, they're not going to care whether you're 1 or 4 or you have a good personality. They're going to look and see whether you can do something. And if you can't handle somebody telling you no, or somebody saying, "Pardon me, but you're doing this incorrectly, I'd like you to do it this way," they haven't been told that something's wrong or incorrect, then they have no barometer. They have no way of dealing with things.
Yeah. So true. And, there's way more negatives than this, but leads to confusion and ambiguity. Ambiguity of communication. And even I do a little bit of texting. I'm not huge into it. Can't do it with my eyes closed like I was pretending to before. But I know kids that can. I'm guilty of this. Recently I had texted one of my associates, and because obviously with texting there's no nonverbal communication or anything like that. There's so much missed. But I had said, hey, please call this as a new referral for you. I know a little bit about the history. Call me. And then I left the phone number, and the phone number I left was the phone number of the client, and she thought it was my phone number. So she calls the number saying, hey, Chris, and they're like, oh, you got the wrong number. But even little things like that, because I wasn't clear as to, hey, this is the patient's phone number. And so little things, but there's so much more than that. There's so much more. When I know people that send messages or emails back and forth where you can't tell. I mean, is the person angry? Is the person frustrated? It's just always a miscommunication.
You can't write in caps. That means you're angry.
If you can't write in caps. Yeah.
I always
I'm-
wrote
yeah.
caps. I guess that must mean something.
Deep-seated. Maybe later you can lay on the couch and tell me about your dreams in childhood.
Where's the
We'll get to the bottom. In my office, we'll get to the bottom of it.
Gonna stop at BJ's?
For you, we're gonna need about 3 or 4 years, though. I can tell that already.
Oh,
Yeah, daily, Freudian, intensive. Back and forth. I absolutely minimize this opportunity for social skills. Back in the day, growing up, after school, we were outside. Nowadays, it's all the two most important periods of the day for an elementary schooler are recess and lunch to me. I don't want my kids missing recess, and I don't want my kids missing lunch, because that's where social skills are made or lost. I'd much rather. Any teachers here? Cover your ears. I'd much rather pull my kids from, what do you teach?
Hearing impaired students.
Oh, okay. I'd much rather, if you're an English teacher, I was going to pick on you. I'd much rather pull my kids from English or math than from recess or lunch.
Was anybody with me in I was in, what was it called? Pardon me, bullying and the sexual orientation class or whatever it was called. And I brought up that now, because there's so many bubbles around these children, they're taking away, New England did it somewhere, and now tag is no longer allowed to be played
No,
because.
dodgeball.
Oh, dodgeball went out with
Yeah.
dodgeball, and no Red Rover, any of those games, because, your child might fall and get injured, or get a skinned knee, but then again, where are they learning to build some strength of character, some, some spirit, anything? And so.
A bubble.
There actually is supposed to be no tag, no touching somebody. That's one of the best games. Everybody can join in, regardless of a disability or whatever. We have kids, because I'm after school, disabilities and everything can play tag. And everybody else figures out which one's not to tag, you cut them some slack, and that's how they learn it. But because of the fact that you might get a bruise on your knee, you might skin your elbow, or whatever, that it was on the news with Brian Williams, I think it's NBC, and then they're doing it, part of it in Fairfax County. Nothing, but then what are they going to do for half an hour, 29 minutes, or 28 minutes, whatever it is? They're going to walk around the playground. What are they going to do?
It's nothing.
There's one school in
Yeah, text each other.
here that ban cartwheels. They're not allowed to do cartwheels when we're out in the
Oh, come on.
Really? Because people injure themselves. I'm like,
Right.
Well,
Well, that's where the swings are going. We have swings still, but swings, that's when you teach your child, you got kicked in the mouth because you shouldn't have been running under the swing. It's going to hurt for a while. You'll get over it.
Tough
Then
it
on you
out.
go. But
Life is hard.
Common sense is going out the window.
Out the window. Out the window.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, is, well, hey, you're supposed to be watching my kid, and he got hit by the swing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see.
Why weren't you watching my kid? Right. Right.
But that's because it was their child. They should be watching their own children and teaching their own children, but they're not.
Yeah. I don't think I put it in here, but we've been talking about bubbles and conflict resolution for social media. If you have an argument with someone or you don't like someone online, apparently, again, I'm not huge into this, but if you have a conflict, you can either swear at them like no one's business, or you can block them, right? Can you just block them? Like, I don't want to be, those are like the two ways of conflict resolution on the internet. There's no face-to-face, hey, let's work it out, let's make this conflict a win-win situation. It's either I'm going to block at you, or because you're not right in front of me, I'm going to swear at you. Unhealthy. promotes laid-back communication with the likes and all the other stuff. Sad. But there's good stuff coming. Here's the positives. There is definitely some good stuff with social media. It's an avenue to display talents, share creativity. YouTube is the #1 thing for that. A lot of the stuff posted on YouTube is funny stuff. It's, if my parents can't make it up to my kid's dance recital, I can put it, I don't do it, but I could put it on YouTube and have them watch it. So I think that's positive, agreed? It's not a bad thing, as long as what you're putting up there on YouTube is appropriate. Very helpful for shy children, teens, and adults. Very helpful for autistic spectrum disorder children, teens, and adults. I think it's a great thing. Convenient for long-distance relationships. I wish, my wife's a psychologist too, we went to school together, and unfortunately when you go on your internship, you typically go separate ways because you go to the internship site that matches what you're interested in learning. I went back home up to the University of Buffalo, and my wife, which is what brought me to DC, was at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Southeast DC, and the only ways we had to communicate, this is from 98, the only ways we had to communicate were telephone, or the US Air had this e-saver thing on Wednesdays, and sometimes if they didn't sell out the seats, you can get like a flight for $100. So we do that every now and again. But really, that's it. Telephone, I couldn't see her, or plane. I wish there was Skype back then. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. I wish there was Skype. I wish there was FaceTime. So it's convenient for that. So I got this from one of my students. It's an opportunity to raise money for charity, and that there's a whole bunch of social media sites that are out there where people can donate money, legitimate ones, where people can actually donate money, which is nice. Allows students to collaborate. Got that from another student. Hey, I go on there, a college student. I can go on there, and this is how we collaborate ideas for group projects that I was unaware of too. Any other ones that y'all can think of? There's got to be some more.
I plagiarize. When I go get my allergy shots, I read one of the magazines and I take pictures of the things that I want from the Fun Family magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
It's new plagiarism. Yep.
That's interesting.
I have it with me on my phone.
Yeah, interesting.
Educational websites
Yeah.
we use. And I personally put in vocabulary lists and games that students get access from home as well.
All right, good.
It's a lot of good stuff.
That makes a whole lot of sense though, because every now and again I would get some of the parents, hey, can I borrow this magazine? Can I borrow that magazine? I haven't gotten that in a long time, and I'll bet that's what they're doing.
Someone take a picture.
Yeah,
Take a picture of the pages they want.
yeah.
And then you can
That makes
use the
sense.
magazine. And then I save paper that way. See?
You're good.
Helping the environment.
Helping the environment.
Positive with social media.
Oh yeah. And making it positive, this is what parents can do. This is what adults can do, teachers, psychologists. Moderation is the key. You're not going to stop it. You only hope to contain it. I would have very clear rules on what was allowed and what was not allowed, and I'd stick to it. Would I be rigid about it? I don't believe in rigid parenting. I'd be a little bit flexible at times if the situation warranted it, but I'd be on the same page. I'd have parents be on the same page and implement it in a very clear, consistent way. I run into the situation all the time where one parent allows things and their parent doesn't. You raise manipulative kids if that happens. It's definitely not good. Mom and dad have to be on the same page. Politeness counts. Some of the youth today, not the most polite with things because of the informal communication. Maintain boundaries, feelings, dignity, relationships. This gets back to this sexting stuff and things like that. You got to teach your kids that this stuff is totally not okay. Kids need to know that what you post on Facebook, especially if you don't have privacy controls, can be seen by the world. And that feelings and dignity, and this is so important. Life, I started this by saying, I want to build a relationship with you today. I want to share information. That's my secondary goal. But I want to build a relationship with you today. That's what life is all about. Practice. Teach the kids exactly what to do. Practice with them on a regular basis so that you know that they know what they're doing. Know what your kids are up to at all times. It's easier said than done, especially with that, what you're sharing. Easier said than done. And then limit friends to people that you know and deal with on a face-to-face basis. 1,000 friends, yeah. Questions? Comments? Anything else that I can talk about or clarify? I went through that much quicker than I thought I would. So,
What do you think is the appropriate age for a child to have a phone?
for a phone, I would say middle school-ish. All depends on the kid. All depends on the kid. I see some kids that they may be 13 years old in 7th grade, but from a maturity standpoint, they're still in elementary school. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would. I would also. I'm very big into teaching kids finances, starting right around the age of 10 with an allowance. I'd make a piece of that allowance go towards the cell phone, saying that when you're an adult and you own a cell phone, I get a bill every month. I got to pay it. I think you teach that to kids at a very young age. I think you get kids at bank account at 10 and review statements with them too. One of my funniest memories, wasn't funny for me, but wasn't funny for the friends, was going off to college. I went to a state, my undergrad was from it's called Geneseo up in upstate New York. And I remember walking as a freshman, walking into the student union the very first day, and what did they have? They had tables lined up with the credit card people. And I was very fortunate. I was raised by 2 great parents and I went to college with a very small limit on a credit card, so I knew all about it. So I knew not to sign up for it, but boy, I had friends who did. And then when they maxed that out on beer and whatever, after like $1,000, whatever they gave them, then they're calling up mommy and daddy crying, hey, I got this bill, I actually got to pay that? Yeah, you start from a very, very young age, middle school. I know elementary schoolers that have cell phones. My kids don't.
I mean, my son is 11, he's in 7th grade. But we just refuse his parents to buy him a phone. He doesn't need it. What does he need it for?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, do you have a landline? I have a landline. Some
Yeah.
people, is that what it's called? Some
Yeah,
people
landline.
don't even have a landline.
Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah. Yep, they just rely on the cell phones.
And I
Oh, yeah.
know that people, I haven't done it, I'm dying to do it because I want to see if I can handle it, but you go to lunch, if we all went to lunch together, you stack the phones. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
You stack the phones on a table, and the first one that can't stand it anymore picks up their phone and answers, pays for everybody. So when
I want to go out to lunch with them.
everybody- So apparently it's because
Mine would have cobwebs on it.
apparently people are realizing what an impediment it is to conversation, to figure out, because you miss whole sentences if you answer your phone, you miss sort of, juggernaut of conversation or whatever.
Oh, so often you go out to dinner and you see people are
Right,
just
and
picking up their
people-
phones.
Two people
Oh.
are at dinner and they're both on their phones, so
But not with each other.
right. People are realizing that it isn't working, so clearly you put your phones in the middle and then, but if you don't, if you pick it up, you pay.
You pay.
When I was at the credit card thing, I was in the hallway and I saw that they were offering Apple Credit Union is available at the school store for the students to open an account. And I was reading the post and I was like, why? That is a horrible decision. Like, why is that even being offered? It was just for the teachers. That's even as part of the benefits, but it's being offered to the students at the school store to open Apple Credit Union debit cards and how easy it is to get a checking account.
I'm assuming with a cosigner though, right? It's got to be, right?
I just saw the poster and because I was talking to one of the vendors and I saw it behind her, like I was like, that can't be true. But they'll at the school store if anybody wants an Apple Credit Union
At this school.
Yeah.
at the school.
Yeah, they have it at Hilton.
That's
Really?
It's
ridiculous.
supposed to help promote responsibility.
If mom or dad or both sit
Right.
down with the child and teach them that,
Right.
then it's a great skill.
Right.
It's a great skill.
It won't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not credit
Yeah. Exactly. That's the way to go with it. Is do it with the debit card. That once you run out, you run out. Because then when you're walking through Target or Toys R Us and your kid says, "Hey, can I get that?" I don't know. Can you? How much money you got?
Right.
Did you bring your card? No. I guess you can't have it. I'm not a bank. I have to- Look, when you bring a child in the world, your goal is to do the best you can to raise a happy, healthy kid. That's what your goal is. You do the best you can. When I put my head on my pillow at night, I said, did I do the best? I can't say it every day, but most days I would say I did the best I could today to raise happy, healthy kids. I'm the so-called expert, and I lose it with my kids every now and again. To me, that's just realistic, as long as you learn from it and move on. But I want to do to my kids what my parents did, and they gave me an opportunity to succeed in life. And what they do with that at 18, you know, when they're the adults, that one's on them. But I want to give these kids an opportunity, and I hope everyone does the same.
Something would be wrong with
What's that?
you. If you did lose it every now and then, something would be wrong with you.
You talk to my wife about the something's being wrong with me.
It's sort of sad.
Far from perfect. Far.
It's sort of sad though that there are, you know, like from when we were growing up, you had to write letters and thank you notes.
Oh yeah.
And there's a trail, you know, my mother has all of them and from her families, and I'm sure the same is with all of you, that there's the generation back, and we used to have to write thank you notes. And my father was in State Farm, so we were always traveling, and then some places we would place the phone call the day before, or 3 days before, from overseas, so that we could call back on Christmas. You know, and that was in like 1970 and whatever. But it's sort of sad that there is no, because you can just print out emails. There's nothing personal about them. You can keep the letters that somebody writes to whomever, whatever. But there's something nice about that wrinkled piece of paper and seeing what somebody wrote to you and the time they spent, you know, with
To personalize it,
writing
and
down,
write it and making it personal.
down, the letters, they came in.
Absolutely.
How much more, it's just so much less personal
Yeah.
by a huge amount. There are great strides, but there's something lost at the same time.
Society's changing.
Not that I'm a big fan of writing thank you notes anymore, let me be the first to tell you that. But, you know, it's nice, like, there are letters about what was going on, you know, back home, all of those
Yeah.
things.
But so many of the kids don't do that. I mean, I try to make my 8-year-old write thank you notes for everything he gets, and all day long he complains, well, none of my friends have to do it. I mean, nobody has to do that in school, and they talk about it all the time, and, you know, I think, well, that's what you're gonna do, and this is what our family does. And,
Right, and in the time it would take to argue, you could have
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
No, exactly. But that's just it. Bye, Mary. Thank you for coming.
We all do that.
But he just argues all the time that nobody else does it, you know, nobody else has to do this.
So why do I have to do it? Cause you do. Cause you do.
Yeah, but they all talk on the bus, or they all talk at school, and, you know, no one has to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Sad. Any other comments or any?
I guess your business is booming because of social media.
Yes. So what I should have said today was push it. 10 hours of video games is okay. 4,400 texts a day. That you need to do more than that. You need to do more than that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
creating
Yes.
people that can't relate socially.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sleeping at night, how's that? There aren't enough hours in the day for this.
I can't tell you the importance of regular and consistent sleep, not only for kids and teens, but for me, for humans, regular and consistent sleep. These kids, 3 a.m., you're up texting, playing video games?
And even the studies about the color that different rooms are painted different colors.
Yes.
And then that it's better for, especially a child, to go to bed on calm sheets, you know, as opposed to having like lightning bolts
Oh,
on
yeah.
them.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the last thing you see,
It's-
even though you don't really see it,
Yep.
you know, all those things, and so the last thing you're getting blinded by those. And I play Roswell in the middle of the night too. I've done it.
What color should you paint a child's room? Now his favorite color is red, of course, you know, I'm not sure he wants to paint his room red, but what would be a good color?
A good soothing color. I would look. I don't know what the research says on that,
Okay.
It's
but
like one of the cuckoo's
yeah.
nest green. Those are the best. Yeah, like the school walls.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
It'd be like Nurse Ratched.
yeah.
But is red not a good color to color?
I think red's a hot color. I think red is fiery.
They said that you're supposed to use red lights in a bedroom instead of painting the walls red, and if the red, like the dimming red lights, those will help you sleep better.
Because it's like old ladies who used to put this silk scarf over a
Yeah.
lamp.
Yeah.
It is. It gives it a better color and takes away the wrinkly look. Because it's dark as Hades in there.
Yeah.
Like I've ever been in the 80s, but you never know.
It's really hard to put over, so if you want to sell your house, I'd say steer clear of red.
Yeah.
I mean, just forget the mood thing, just trying to.
Unless you
get
do
the
like
house back to normal.
unless you do a stripe or something at the bottom.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, that's
Not a
different. That's
giant-
different.
Or accessories, because generally the giant, those bright neon, especially the neon colors, are not good for anything calm.
White,
Like that.
That's what it is now.
something neutral. Yeah, but it is boring. White is boring, I agree.
One wall on the bed that you don't.
Yeah, maybe like an accent wall. Maybe like an accent wall. Yeah. Yeah, but plus it's a nice compromise.
Put up on the wall,
Yeah.
peel off the
Just
inside.
some red accents.
There you go.
We're all thinking.
Awesome.
Because then there's the blue red and the orange red, and you're gonna get those mixed up in
Still with the red lights.
Maybe you read through
Uh,
We'll all be
Thank
at sea when we're
yeah, thank you, but thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be here. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll see some of you next year. I think my yearly trip to my favorite conference.